natural animals do you have here?
We have little to no. The only original wildlife in Iceland is the Arctic fox.
The Arctic fox?
Yeah.
You still have a lot of those?
Yeah. And I saw one, what was it, yesterday? I saw the one. I was lucky, I was sheer luck.
Yeah.
Usually they are very shy.
Yeah.
But of the wildlife that we have, beside that, we have like rats and mice that smuggled their way into here. We have mink. Mink. Mink was moved to Iceland for pelt farming. And unfortunately some of them escaped, which is bad because there is no predator for it in Iceland. Then in the early 1800s we brought in some reindeers. We have them up in the north and in the east. And now in the neighborhood of Reykjavik we have some rabbits, former pets that have been let loose. And that's it of wildlife. But we have somewhere between 60 and 70 species of birds that migrate to Iceland. And the longest flying one is the Arctic tern. The Arctic tern flies all the way from Antarctica to Iceland in the summertime. Clever little bird because they get summer in Antarctica and they get summer in Iceland.
Yeah.
So double summer for them. We have basically, well, we have sheep, we have goats, we've got pigs, we've got chickens, we've got cows, horses.
We haven't seen any cows.
You haven't seen any cows?
Not one.
That is strange.
But many horses, what do you do
Yes.
with the horses?
Eat them.
You eat them?
Well, the horse today is mostly used for recreation.
Yeah.
We used to them. My mother, she's now what, 79, and she used to plow the fields with horse and use it as a workhorse when she was a kid. But nowadays, if we use them as a workhorse, that would be an area like here, where when they gather the sheep, because the sheep are roaming around here freely in the summer, and then in the beginning of September, you will have to gather them and bring them down.
You gather them with the horses?
Yes, we use foot, quad bikes, horses, whatever is possible. But in some areas, the only way is to use horses, and especially if it's difficult areas. And then they are very popular. Right now, there is the National Assembly of Horse Racing just outside of Reykjavik. They are used for competition. There's a special competition because we have only one horse breed in Iceland, the Icelandic horse. And they are special. They have 5 gates, and the 5th gate, called Tölt, is so smooth that if you ride it full speed and hold a jar of beer in your hand, you won't spill a drop.
Oh, that's incredible.
It's unbelievable to see. And the competition here is not so much about speed. It's more about the cooperation between the rider and the horse, and they compete. For example, in those gates, you have to travel maybe a certain ground, and at certain points you have to change the gate, and the horse has to be able to change the gate just like that. There's also speed involved, but then because we only have this one horse race in Iceland, and that's the only one that is allowed, and the horse is popular, for example, in Europe, then if you move a horse out of the country, you can't bring it back. It can never come back.
Never?
Never. That is to prevent diseases. So we have no diseases within the horse race in Iceland.
You cannot compete that way?
No, but there is the World Championship of Horse Racing, or the Icelandic Horse Racing, is held in Europe, never in Iceland. So if you race the right horse, There's a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
So that is one reason why there are so many. But also, when you go horseback riding, for example, traveling into the country here, you will have 3-4 horses with you. Each and every horse has their own ability. Some are good in the lava field, others are good swimmers, and so on. So, and you would change maybe 3-4 times within the day just to rest the horse.
Of course.
But the Icelandic horse is considered to be the most endurant horse race in the world.
Wow.
There was a test done in the US where they measured the physicality of the horses, had them travel certain distance, and then measured the physicality again. And they concluded that the only horse that was fit to go back the same way was the Icelandic horse. And I talked to one farm lady about this, and she said that, well, if the Arabian horse wasn't more endurant than the Icelandic, then yes, the Icelandic one is the most endurant.
Wow.
So, and we...
you cannot compete outside Iceland. No one can come into Iceland.
No. So last year, for example, at the World Championship, they claimed that the cargo, when they moved the horses to compete in that World Championship out of the country, it had never ever been more or more expensive cargo that they moved of horses. They had some champions that they had got an offer for them already, and they sold them for obnoxious amount of money.
Yeah.
So, but the horses that can't be used for anything, we eat them.
You eat them.
Yeah.
Very
That is actually quite a good meat.
Yes.
Yep. It's you can get very good steak from a horse. That is usually relatively young horses then. Old horses, they go into sausages.
Sausages.
Yeah. It's been from ever.
Yeah.
Because in the year 1000, there was at Congress, I don't know, have you been on the Golden Circle?
Not
Not
yet.
yet, no. When you go to Thingvellir, where we had the parliament, in the year 1000 we were under pressure from the King of Norway, that was always meddling with business in Iceland, to take up Christianity. And half of the nation then was pagans and half was Christians. And there was a big row about it, and in the end they decided that one man, Þorgeir Ljósvetningagoði, he would make the decision. He was the right man to make the decision whether we should take up Christianity or not. And he went into his tent for a night and a day, and he came out and said, yes, we will take up Christianity. And this was quite peculiar because he was the chieftain of the pagans. But he said, those that are pagan, they will be allowed to practice their paganism as long as they don't do it out in the open. And then he added, and we will keep on eating horse meat.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that forever. And because of this, we've got a handful of killing that we can connect directly to religious disputes.
Yeah.
And the most notable of them happened in 1550. We changed then, because we took up Catholicism in the beginning, changed then in 1550 to Lutheranism. And the bishop in the north, Jón Arason, and his two sons, they didn't want to convert, so they were captured and executed.
So the religion right now,
The official is Lutheran, yes. But paganism is still very much alive. has been, if anything, it's been growing. And the original paganism, they are the pagans here, the pagan group is actually fighting against, especially these right-wing groups that are taking paganism and trying to make it theirs, which is wrong, because paganism is absolutely not about being violent. On the contrary, paganism is more about peace and harmony with nature. And I was lucky enough, I met the chieftain of the pagans today, quite an intellectual, nice guy, good componist, and makes great music. And I asked him, because I had been wondering about it, whether he looked at paganism as philosophy or religion. And he said, well, it's a bit of both. And so if you look at Confucius and the old Chinese philosophy, you'll see the resemblance between Confucius and the paganism.
Oh.
It's actually very close. And one of the most famous things from the period of the Vikings and paganism is what we call Hávamál. It has been translated to it's called Saying of the Vikings. And Saying of the Vikings. Yeah, there is it's been translated into English and you can buy it in a book now. Every time my nephews and nieces are at the age of confirmation, I give them this Saying of the Vikings, of course in the old Icelandic, because these over 1,000-year-old poetry, this is the rules on how to behave in the world. Very good. It's very simple, common sense rules, basically. But it says like you should travel so that you won't be ignorant. You should eat before you go to a party so you don't make a pig out of yourself. Don't drink too much because then you make a fool out of yourself. Not everybody that laughs at your joke is your friend. If you sit amongst your wiser people, keep quiet and listen, and so on and so on. The most famous one though is I think it was number 70 or something. That is Deyrfé, deyja frændur, deyr sjálfur hið sama, en orðstír deyr aldrei þeim sér góðs getur. Or cattle die, kinship die, you yourself will die, but he who makes a good reputation for himself, he will never die. Yep, and that is that is the most cited one. You can see sometimes they use this one sentence from it that in an obituary or something like that for a person that has been a nice person all his life.
Yeah. Very common sense.
Yep. There is a lot more of it. Of course, some of it is old-time things like when going through a doorway or something like that, or a hallway, always look into the shadows because you don't know what's lurking in the shadows, and things like that. So, but I have a couple of friends that are pagans, and some of them have it more as a religion. But it's such an open religion that if I want that rock to be my God, so be it.
Yeah.
That is my God. And Christianity took quite a lot from paganism. Even the Christmas tree comes from paganism.
Really?
Yep. There's a lot in Christianity that originally is found in paganism. And I was very surprised when I found out this with the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yep, that's the fact. In paganism, Askur Yggdrasil was the tree of life anyway, so one of the main themes. Is relatively good today. This is what we call a good road here.
Good road.
Yeah. You'll experience a little bit worse road on the way out. We'll take a different route when we go out of here.
Uh-huh.
That one is usually very bad.
That's gonna be a bad road.
Yeah.
For sports, you just walk through the mountains?
Well, yes, there is. It's quite popular to go hiking in Iceland. The most popular sport in Iceland is the handball. That is the most. The second most is football. Yeah.
What's a handball?
Yeah.
Yep.
Handball is the most popular. That is, Mexico is not very big there.
No.
No.
But I think we had the World Cup in handball in '95, and there was a team from Mexico here then. But Mexico is good in football.
No.
No.
Not now, no.
Not
Not
anymore.
No.
We're not good in sports.
The last game that we had, Iceland versus Mexico, that was a draw, 1-1.
Yep.
So, that is. Then we have basketball. We've got volleyball. We've got all kinds of swimming. Is quite popular. Has been. We've had always had some that are good. I think we will have at least 3 at the Olympics in swimming this year. The handball team, our handball team is on the top 10 in the world. The football team is, they are not as good as they used to be. We had this fantastic team in 2016.
You don't have ice hockey?
There is ice hockey, but I think there's only 3 teams in Iceland, and it's not a big sport.
Not a big sport.
No, the three main one would be handball, football, and then basketball. But we have people in all kinds of sports, and that is because in the late 80s, after the punk area, we had a little bit of a problem with youth drinking, and we started building indoor sports halls so that you can train all kinds of sports all year round, even soccer, and we started channeling young children into sports and culture. And the result of that is that we diminished youth drinking by 85%.
Oh my God.
Other European countries have been looking into how on earth we managed to do this. And it was not a governmental thing, it was more parents and that were behind it, parents at the sports club. My father was head of one of the sports clubs at that time, and they set a very ambitious goal. They were gonna make it so that everybody that wanted from the age of 2 and till the day of their death could have some activity at least once a week. And last year when I was asking him about what was his biggest achievement, because he's made quite big achievement in his life, that was the one that he was most proud of, to my surprise.
Wow.
That is, but that is because our sports club in my town is the only sports club in the country that has managed. Everybody is trying to go there at the same route, but they haven't managed like my sports club did.
Wow.
So
Yeah, sports is the only way.
yep, that is. Yeah, sports or culture in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, because of this, we have got a lot of music coming out of Iceland. A lot of kids that are involved in music and dancing also, even ballet.
But music comes with a lot of alcohol sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, but here in Iceland lately, that has not been the case.
Huh?
That is actually quite interesting. And many of the younger groups that come, they take it very, very serious. One of the biggest groups now in the States that comes out of Iceland, Kaleo, they took it very seriously from the beginning. I think they may drink, I don't know, but no problems, no drug problems that you hear of or anything. Another group within the blues rock scene, Vintage Caravan, take it very seriously. Rock and roll group like Skálmöld playing Viking rock, you would think there would be a lot of drinking and drugs there. Nope. So that has changed. There was, in the early days, there was a lot of it, but it's less now. And I saw it, for example, on my brother's boys. They are now in the 20s. When they were in the high school, and so you were out if you were drinking. You were not in. Not even beer or anything. That was not the style. I was basically the black sheep when I was younger, because I wasn't drinking. That was, to my friends, very strange.
Wow.
But that was also the cool thing. I got to drive all kinds of cars while they were drinking.
Yeah.
They were going out drinking and like cruising. They would call me, Christian, wanna drive? Very often I would get some American muscle cars to drive around.
Designated driver.
Designated driver, yes.
I was a designated driver with my friends.
Yep. Well, that's why it's quite fun that I got into driving into the Highlands, because then later on when they were all when we started building out the super jeeps and making them ready for the Highlands, they were all into that, but then I was just skiing in the Highlands or something like that. I told them if it's weather good enough to take a trip into the Highland on a jeep, then I can do it on skis. Much more fun.
Anywhere in Iceland where you find water, you can drink it.
Yes. If the water is flowing, you can drink it. And even in the lakes and everything, it's all drinkable.
Wow.
The only water I would not drink is the water in a glacial river, but that it's not because it's gonna harm you, it's just bad taste.
bad taste?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the ash that it usually brings with it down from the ice and volcano and the sediments that it brings. You can see that it's muddier than the clear flowing streams. Been raining as much up here as it has been down in the lowland. You drove through Vík then yesterday?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah. The wettest town in Iceland.
It is?
Yeah. They are on the southmost point of Iceland. They can have as much as 220 days of rain.
Water tank.
Water tank, yes. In this river today, but it can be so big that we can't even pass it in this one. But this one is one of my favorite to go in here. It's not a new car, but it has air suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the suspension works very well here in this one, on this road. Better than, for example, Land Cruisers.
Yeah.
This area here, we call it Friðland af Fjallabaki. Quite a long name. It's like the peaceful land behind the mountain. And the variation, you drive maybe 10 kilometers, you've got a desert, then all of a sudden you come into a valley like this. Beautiful valley with the moss and everything. Then you drive over the next passage and you're back into a deserted area, and then you all of a sudden start to get close to Landmannaleid and things started changing. Lava and lakes and wildlife or bird life. So it's one of my favorite areas in Iceland. And not far from here is another area that's called Veiðivatn, or fishing lake area. I used to go there always the first weekend in August fishing. Did that for 16 years in a row with the family.
What do you fish?
There we have both trout and char. And the trout is the Ice Age trout. Can become huge, but most of it there in the lakes that you catch is about 3 to 5 pounds. But if you catch that on a fly, it's a big fighter. It's quite fun.
Yeah.
And it's very, very good food.
So you fly fish?
Yeah. Going next week to the west.
Next week.
Yeah, to fly fish for salmon.
Salmon.
Yeah. There is a river there that I've been fishing in for the past 30 years. Probably not much of a salmon in the river right now.
Why?
It's what we call a late river. The salmon comes in very late on the west part of Iceland. So by the end of the month, on the other hand, there should be quite a lot of fish in the river. And I've got a couple of days in August. Actually, I'm supposed to have only 3 days, but a friend of mine has also 3 days in that river. So he called me and said, shouldn't we just have it 6 days in a row, because it's next to my 3 days.
Yeah.
So we can go for 6 days.
Ah, that's good.
And what he had been calculating was that it was not only full moon, it was high tide. And the salmon comes in before high tide and after high tide. So the likelihood of catching salmon at that time is double.
The double?
Yeah. Once was what? That was 4 years ago. I was in the river. It's basically 2 rivers where they meet. I had looked at the tide and everything and saw that it was high tide and perfect timing. So I went out at 8 o'clock in the afternoon to that spot. And when I had taken 5 in less than an hour, I said, okay, that's enough for today. Went on the exact same spot the morning after, around similar time, 12 hours later, boom, 5 more. But last year there was so little rain in Iceland, especially in the west, that when I went to the river, I said, no, I'm not gonna fish. So I didn't even start to fish there. They were just suffocating, there was so little water. And very, very few salmon. So I said, no, let's just give them the peace and check out if they come back next year. Because we have, in the rivers here in Iceland, we have the Atlantic salmon. And most of it is what we call 1 year salmon. That is, they have been about 3 years in the river before they go out at sea. And they come back a year later. And then they're about 4 to 6 pounds. Then if they survive the river, they go back out into the ocean. And if they survive that, they come back into the rivers. And then they are between 12 and 10 or 15 pounds. And in the rare case that they go out for the 3rd time and come back, they could be as much as 30 pounds.
That's like king salmon.
Yeah. So this is a special breed of Atlantic salmon that is special to Iceland. But in that river where I fish, we try to protect it as much as possible. So like last year, we did little to no fishing. If there is little fish in the river, we go very carefully. We maybe take 1 or 2 out, not more, per person. So that's why we have been able to fish there for 30 years. And we have done things to help it to increase the area where it can live in peace, not being touched. We closed off parts of the river. So we have 2 more years there where we can fish there. Unfortunately, the farmers didn't want to renegotiate with us now. We'll Iceland is that the farmers that own the land to the river,
Yeah.
they own the rights to fish, but they have to have an association around the fishing.
Yeah. So you buy your 3 days?
Yeah, usually this association would then rent this out to a group that sells per day. But we are 7 families that rent the whole river, and we don't sell the days out to anyone else.
Okay.
So we just divide it between us, and that's why we have been able to protect it.
Yeah.
And but now one of the farm got sold, and there's a new owner, and he thinks he can get more money for the river than we are paying right now, which I think is wrong, but we'll see. Yeah, we wanted 5 to 10 more years. My father is now 84, and that is his life being there. He's from there, and I was hoping that we would have it while he was alive and capable of fishing. It's been his thing. Last year he broke a hip in the spring, and he set the goal that he would be on his leg and out in the river by September. And he was.
He was?
Yep. He went into the river in September and caught a fish.
Yeah.
He is stubborn as hell. They started driving those buses on this road.
Very messy.
Yeah, they dig up the road so badly. So that's the reason why it becomes so bad.
Yeah.
Last year, for example, they got stuck here. They had dug out this part so badly that they got stuck here. Had problem getting up this hill.
Yeah.
It's not much, but they still had a problem.
Big bus.
Yeah. This area, Landmannaleid, has become super popular.
Yeah.
When I came up first in here about 30 years ago, it would take us the whole day to drive out of Reykjavik just to go into Landmannaleid. Now all the roads have been made so better that we can drive it back and forth in a day. But basically the road from where I picked you up and all the way in here was worse than this.
No.
It's more like this.
Yeah. 20 kilometers per hour.
Yeah. We didn't have as good vehicles as we have now. But it was fun. Going over the rivers and vehicles that you basically shouldn't take over the river. We did it anyway.
Yeah.
We had a trick that you can't do with cars today, but the trick that my father-in-law taught me with if you have an old-timer car, you take the fan belt off. Before you go into the river, you take the fan belt off. Then you take a wool sock and put it over the air intake.
And
drive over. And then when you get over, you put the fan belt on and take the sock off. And there should be no water in the engine.
Yeah.
In Landmannaleid, there's one deep pool there, and every year I see some drown on a car there.
Some car drowning?
Yeah, They drive into the pool and don't know what they're doing, drive wrong place or not carefully enough,
Yeah.
and they drown the car there. Some idiot.
How do you take it out of?
We have, it has to be pulled, and
Yes.
then they have to just to move it out of here because they kill the engine.
Yeah.
They blow the engine by doing it. And I've seen them stop because they're going water in the engine in the middle of the pool, and then try to start it again, and then definitely yes, you have ruined the engine. if it shuts down
Yeah.
and you just do nothing, there is a chance of saving that engine. But as soon as you start trying to start it again, you blow the engine. The piston will blow it
Yeah.
and break the house. I even heard about a guy last year that was idiotic enough to drive a Tesla in here because the other roads you can drive, there is not rivers like here.
Yeah.
And then he got so cocky because he was all the way in there that he started driving the Tesla over the big pool.
And he.
Of course, he ruined the car.
Of course.
Teslas, they may be great cars, but
Not for this kind of road.
no, they can't stand. I think it was what, max 20 centimeters of water.
Yeah. You know, it goes into the battery that's below.
Yeah. Because the also it goes into the motors because the motors are on each wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
That is one of the things that actually makes the Tesla good for snow. That was surprising to know of. But when you think about it, it basically is a four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
We've had Teslas ruined just inside Reykjavik because it rains a little bit too much.
Yeah. In Mexico it's similar.
Yeah. Well, you get a little bit more rain.
Yeah, we do. And the streets aren't ready for it.
Yeah. I remember, what was it? I think I wrote something down, the rain in Chiapas. Yeah, I was in Chiapas probably in November. Well, there must have been quite rain there. Remember that I had problems with my solar cells charging on the camper.
Yeah.
At that time, even though I had a super system, I still had a problem with it. Surprised at how fast he's driving.
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
mines
Quartz.
and also some sulfur mines, but not anymore. The camper that I drove was similar to this one.
Oh, that's immense.
Yeah. But that was an old-time Mercedes-Benz that I had, much cheaper than this one.
Yeah.
It was an old bus conversion. but these ones, the Mans, they are very expensive.
Yep. Yep, like a house.
Yeah. Very luxurious.
Yeah.
I had everything that I needed, but it was no luxury.
Yeah.
And the problem with these is in many places, if you need them fixed, nobody can fix them.
No.
But in my case, anybody that knows a tractor could fix them.
Could fix it.
And I had problems with the brake systems in Mexico. And they fixed that easily in Mexico City.
Yeah. Good workers.
Yeah. And I did some changes when I was down in Baja. Because I bought it used and they had changed it, and the former owner did a little bit of idiotic thing with where he had the tires, because he had it above the roof, but the connection down was wrong. So I wanted to change that, and I found a guy in Mexico, in Baja California,
Yeah.
that did it for me, and it was fantastic.
Perfect.
Way too cheap.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite leather bags that I have, that I bought in Oaxaca.
Yeah, extremely cheap.
Yeah, I'm still angry at myself for having negotiated price instead of just bought it and shut up.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful bag. I really love it. And all this where I have it with me and going somewhere with it, people always mention it.
Yeah.
Very, very simple bag, but just the form of it and everything.
Yeah, but there's always some wiggle room in prices in Mexico.
Yeah, my wife says, well, you were supposed to negotiate. That was one of the things that I miss from being in Central America, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador.
Yeah.
That is the markets, being able to go to the markets. And
you don't have markets like that here?
no, we don't have them, and being able to
like
go
to buy fruit and
fruit and food and everything. That we don't have that here, and I really, really miss that.
Everything you buy here is in the store?
Yeah. Being able to stop beside the road, we were very fast in picking up where the truckers were stopping. Somewhere by the roads, and there was a mamacita with tacos or tortillas or something.
Yeah.
And we would say, okay, if the truckers are stopping here, she's good. We'll stop here and eat also.
Yeah.
That was something that I miss. We don't have that here.
And fish markets?
No. Yeah. Everything is in the superstore, unfortunately. No, at that time, if you were reading the guidebooks would say don't go into the markets and eat there. That was the best food that you could get, and most fun. People were really nice and smiley and not used to seeing tourists, of course.
Of course. It's the best places to eat in Mexico.
Yeah. I've got a new rule here now. So, góðan daginn.
Ég bara að tjekka á bílastæðaskráningum hjá öllum.
Já, við erum ferðarþjónustuaðili, þannig að við þurfum ekki.
Okay.
Já. Okay. because they took up a new rule to get in here now. You have to register and pay for the car park because it was getting overcrowded last year.
Yeah.
So, but we as an operators, we don't have to book in advance. You just didn't see the the ticket there.
Yeah.
We are.
Sí, no manches. How many people come up here like in a normal day?
Probably
Like
2,000 something.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah. Now with all the big buses coming.
Even more.
Yeah. But it was quite nice. I was here in, how was it? It was very good weather into October last year. So I was here 30th of October. We were the only people.
The only people?
Yeah. No guards or no rangers or anything, no buses, nothing. It's just us. That was nice. And it was beautiful. It had snowed a little bit, not much. And it was still very beautiful here. So first time I came in here this year, in the beginning of June, it was very few. Now every day there are quite many, and will be until end of August. Then it starts to go down.
Yeah.
July, July and into middle of August is the main season where you have most of people in Iceland.
Yeah.
And Landmannaleid is an area that is super popular because a lot of people start hiking from here into the area of Valley of Þórsmörk. It takes you 3 to 5 days, and then you can even and then you can even go over to the area of Skógafoss. So if you hike from here, 6 days you are at Skógafoss waterfall. And that is probably today the most popular hike in Iceland. That is the rescue squad. They are stationed here every summer and have to almost every day pick a car out of the water.
Big tires.
Yeah. And the hoses that you saw on the tires, that is for controlling the amount of air. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, you can inflate
less air when it's like a lot of
gravel and off-road. tricky today. I don't think so.
¿Ya despertó la señora? Estos campers.
Yes.
Huge.
Some of them, like the man here, is a huge
Yeah.
camper. So the area here, here where we have the path leading up there, that is a hiking path that you can take into the lava field, up towards the Red Mountain there, or come down here, around it here. That is a hiking tour that takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The baths are over there. The facilities, like bathrooms and things, they are over there in the big building here behind the green container. And there is also by the yellow stands there, or gas bottles, there is an information center. There is also a map in the seats of the cars if you want to look at the area.
People come and sleep here for days? How many days?
You could stay here for maybe a week and go hiking around and the area. You can. There are several day hikes that you can take here. And the mountain mall, they are here now. The kids that run that, quite fun gang. They met here in this area, got engaged in this area, and then married in this area. They actually married here on the spot. Quite nice. They sell coffee and sandwiches and biscuits and things like that.